Hold on, I don't know if you can hear that, but like a motorcycle just
I
started driving
can.
by.
Right as the counter was over.
And nope. Okay. All right, let's go. Welcome to Sea Beasts. I'm Steven, and with me, as always, is Ralph. This is a podcast talking about creativity, process, and learning how to make things, and the things we mess up as we make things. So,
Yes.
welcome, Ralph.
Welcome.
Do you wanna say any introductory words here?
Just hello and welcome back if you are a returning listener or watcher, viewer. But no, not anything specific.
Wow, I was really banking on that. So
I
no,
know.
just kidding. I really just put you on the spot there. We've had a decent amount of plays, downloads. I don't even know the term to use anymore for podcast.
I
Like
know, and I think
plays.
some people came from our other podcast, maybe?
I think so.
A few?
There's no way to really quantify that.
I know.
'Cause
They'd
I
have to
just
confess.
yeah. If you came from from Bitwaffle stuff, give me a thumbs up. I don't know.
Yeah.
And while you're watching, just thumbs up, just to feel
Yeah,
it,
thumbs up the
feel it in
video
the
and
air.
leave a comment. Or how do you engage on Spotify? I guess
Yeah.
you can like stuff or add
No,
playlists.
I have no idea. But they could go join our Discord, which is there's a link to on our website, seabeasts.com. SEE Beasts. And the website's live now, actually. So there's that.
Oh right, yeah.
Anyway.
This is bad. We've not even gotten into anything. We're just shilling our
Hey,
platforms. That's all
before
we're
we
doing
give you any content, just go do all these things
Yeah.
for us. Thank you. Great.
without earning it.
Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about market saturation and mainly how to stand out in a saturated market, whether that's standing out like with your creative work, whether that's a book, drawings, illustration. I guess it could apply to most things. It's not specific to creative things, even like an apparel company, a coffee company. I don't know, whatever it is. Like market saturation is a thing these days, with social media, with the ease of access to creative tools, even like graphic design stuff. Like people can make decent stuff on Canva. It's not going to be the same as handcrafted stuff, but there's a lot of tools that people without like the training and things can make stuff, which means there's a lot of content out there. So whatever it is, we're going to be talking about market saturation and how to stand out in a saturated market. But before we do, Ralph, I wanted to talk about lemon bars.
Okay.
Do you remember when your mom used to make lemon bars?
I have yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Does she still make lemon bars? I guess I don't know. Is that still a thing she makes regularly?
She does when I ask. Yeah.
Yeah. That there was the first time I ever had a lemon bar was at your house, and like we were hanging out. I don't know when was this, like 5th or 6th grade or something.
Yeah, we were
And yeah, and your mom had made lemon bars, and I remember having them. I'm like, these are so good. What is this?
They really
And like, and I think she remembered my reaction and like how much I liked them, because I swear almost every time I came over after that, I feel like she always had lemon bars like on hand.
Yep.
And your mom's the best. Anyway, those were
And
great.
let's be specific though, because if you go out and you ask for or you just make a recipe for a lemon bar, you're not going to get the good stuff that my mom made. What you need to make is a lemon chess bar, I think is what it's called.
A lemon
It's-
chess bar?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, lemon chess bar, which is more cake-like.
Okay.
I don't know, like if you just do a lemon bar, it's going to be very lemony, very tangy,
Mm.
and it won't have that like cake-like bottom part. You know what? you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. So you got to make a lemon chess bar. Those are they really are one of my favorite desserts. And actually, this year for my birthday, my mom made those for me for my birthday. So,
Okay.
because I also love those,
Yeah.
and they're quite a treat. So,
I'm looking this up right now because I couldn't remember. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm seeing some pictures here.
is it right? Does it look right?
Yeah, the lemon chess bar looks more less of like that gooey fruity
Yeah,
tart
yeah.
consistency.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I brought this up because my wife made lemon bars the other day.
Okay.
It was my daughter's teacher's birthday, and so like my wife kind of made like a dessert for the class for the birthday, and she likes fruity desserts, and so she like made lemon bars, and I
Yeah.
there was like one little sliver of a lemon bar that I got to have, and it just brought back those memories, and I was like, oh man,
True.
this is so good. Which it was still really good, but now that I see these lemon chess bars, I might have to go make some of those pretty soon.
Try it out. Although my mom does also make lemon bars, just regular ones, and
Okay,
and I still like lemon bars.
sure.
But I just remember that the ones that we had when we were younger, they were they were the lemon chess bars, and we would eat. I mean, I we just keep going back to the kitchen and getting more and
You'd
bringing
eat
them
like the
into
whole like nine
yeah.
by this whole square pan of them or whatever.
Yeah,
But
they're so good. We called them lemon squares, didn't we?
yeah, that's right. No, we did. I
lemon
forgot.
squares.
I forgot about that. Okay, man. I'm glad we brought this up because now
Yeah.
it answers some questions that I was thinking about
Yep.
uh in regards to that. So anyway, have you been watching or reading anything recently? Anything good? Anything
Yeah, right.
bad?
We mentioned in last episode that we would maybe talk about media that we're consuming, right?
Yeah, we talked about games a little bit in the intro last time, so
I know. And I gave terrible so we like shotgunned a few of our like favorites. We'll have to circle back around to that because that's a big topic. But yeah, we are watching a show right now. The The Bear.
yeah, yeah.
We are in the middle of it. Years ago when it first came to Hulu, we just binged all of season 1. And
Okay.
it was really good. We really liked it. It was pretty, interesting. I thought it was pretty high quality. And but we binged the whole thing, and then, you know, it was over and they needed
Yeah.
to make more seasons.
Yeah.
So we never went back and touched it. We didn't have
After
Hulu
season 1?
after season 1.
Oh wow.
So now we are watching it again. We started it again in season 1 because it's been so
Okay.
long. And then we just started season 3 tonight, first episode.
Are there 5 seasons?
I think there's 4,
4?
but and I wonder if they're supposed to make more, or I don't even know what the plan is, but I will say season 2, I have thoughts about season 2. Have you seen it, first off?
I don't remember. I've seen some of it. I've seen at least season 1.
Okay.
I think season 2. And I don't remember if I watched any of season 3.
Okay, yeah. So, well, this I don't have any spoilers.
It's
but
old
really,
enough,
it's just my thoughts. Yeah, that's true. But basically for season 2, what I thought was it was a decline in quality significantly.
Huh.
You could have cut out the first 4 episodes of season 2 and lost absolutely nothing.
So more of like the writing, like the story.
Oh yeah,
you
the
think could have
writing.
been cut?
Well, just the episode structure
Okay.
and some of the writing and what they chose to focus on, and the energy, the whole reason that season 1 was good, and the thing that made the show good was its kind of frantic, insane energy, and
Yeah.
like the trying to cook and make something beautiful and cozy that people want to consume. Meanwhile, basically in the kitchen, it's like the trenches. It's just
Yeah.
an absolute battleground, and people are yelling, and it's so stressful. And that
There
was
were
great.
there were times like Libby would be like, my wife, her name is Libby, and she's like, oh, do you want to watch The Bear? And I'm like, I can't feel this
It's very
stress tonight.
stressful.
Like
Yeah,
I can't watch this
Yeah,
tonight.
exactly. There's literally an entire episode in season 1 where it is just a nightmare disaster of a service. That's the
Oh man.
whole episode, just like front to back.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. And the whole show, or that whole season, is basically like that. The energy is very high and
Mm.
stressful, but it's good and it's very interesting. It has moments of good like character development. In season 2, the first 4, I think it's 4 episodes, it's like slow, and
Hmm.
they focus on characters that are B tier characters, let's face it. And I just like, it's just not like, it's, you could throw those episodes out completely and lose like nothing. The episode where, though, because it gets good, season 2 does get good, and the episode where it starts to get good is, if you are aware of the show, you know exactly what I'm going to say. It's the episode with the family gathering of the main character's family at Christmas.
Hmm.
And like Bob Odenkirk is in that episode, and
Maybe I didn't get that far, but
that's where it's, yeah, you probably dropped off because it was so boring. But it gets awesome in that episode. It's a really good episode. And then basically from then on throughout the rest of season 2, it maintains a pretty high level of quality. And now, of course, we just started season 3, and it's, episode 1 was kind of strange.
okay.
I wouldn't say it was bad, but it was like just essentially the main character Carmi like self-loathing and
Hmm.
reminiscing on memories the whole time, and it's very I don't know, whatever. Not bad, kind of interesting, but not, we'll see how season 3 goes.
Do you feel like you'd still feel the same way about season 2 if you watched it in isolation? But you said you like rewatched season 1 and then went straight into season 2. Do you think that affects like your view on it?
No,
Okay.
I would still find those first 4 episodes pretty uninteresting.
Okay.
Um, but maybe I'd be slightly less disappointed, because
You wouldn't be comparing the two
I
side by
wouldn't be
side.
comparing it
Yeah.
literally. I'd just be like, oh, this show sucks. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
and I know maybe I've rustled feathers. I'm sure not many people actually think that,
I mean,
but
I've seen things of like, I saw reviews about like the most recent season, like season 4 as well, when that came out, and people were like, "Oh, like it doesn't like live up to
oh,
the
it's
other
not as
stuff."
good.
I don't
That's
know. Like
probably true.
some people said that, and I'm like, I I haven't watched it. I don't really know.
I was
But
just saying, dude. I was just saying to my wife earlier tonight. Literally, I just said this. I was like, I get nervous. This is so stupid, but it's true. I get nervous when we start new seasons of things, of like shows,
yeah,
because if you're any good at pattern recognition, you'll realize things don't get better; they get worse.
Mm.
So like, there have been so many shows that start out good,
yeah,
and by the end of the show, I freaking hate it.
sure.
So many. I swear I can only think of like 3 shows that have ever remained consistently good the whole time.
I think there's a
Ev-
decent amount of shows too that like the first season feels rough, and people are like, you just got to get through it, and then it gets better. So there are some that like when
yeah,
they're trying to find their trying to find their rhythm in the show,
right.
like The Office season 1, like there's funny parts. There's a couple things that you're just like, oh, that feels cringy, or like Michael Scott's character has like slicked back hair and like
Michael Scott
hair
was a
plugs.
less likable. He didn't have season 1 of The Office had less like heart. It was more so the insanely dry
Yeah,
British style thing, which they were emulating.
right. And so then once they
Um,
made those changes to his character, they like changed a lot of like,
giving the some heart into the
yeah,
show, yeah, actually really did help. Although I don't hate season 1 of I know everybody does say it's rough, but man, some of the most memorable
true. Yeah,
things came out of season 1. Actually, if you think back,
I still like it a lot. It's just some parts of it you're like it feels like that The Office gets better to a certain point, and then once Michael leaves again, then it feels like a little
oh
rough
gosh,
for those
that
seasons.
that's
But
a perfect example of a show that
yeah,
did end up like, just like, it should have ended like way sooner. It
yeah.
ran.
I
It
still
ran
enjoy the
through.
later seasons, and once they like kind of, I mean, how many seasons? It was like season 5 Michael left, and they did like 2 more maybe. Um, there's still really funny moments in those seasons because it still has most of the characters, and like Michael isn't the core of every funny moment. So like there's still the
No.
same character interactions, but some of the direction felt a little like what's happening. Um
Yeah. Yeah. I hated what they did with I always remember like Andy being a character
yeah.
that should have had a good ending, but they just like destroyed everything about him and gave him like ripped away his arc that they
Mm,
had been building up to, and I felt like that was like, why would you even do that?
yeah.
Why would you do that? I don't understand. Um.
Anyways, this
Anyways,
is our podcast is all about entertainment and media
right.
reviews. Um I'll mention one show I've been watching though, and then
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. What are you watching? Yeah.
we'll get this show on the road. Uh well we what were we watching? We've been watching stuff on Apple TV. So we finished the season 1 of a show called Your Friends and Neighbors. My Friends and Neighbors? Your Friends and Neighbors.
I'm gonna look it up
Um
now.
the main actor is I can't remember his name, but he's in Mad Men.
Oh yeah, John Hamm. Is that his name?
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. Um
I just
Super interesting
yeah.
show.
Okay.
Um
Is that where that clip comes from where he's dancing in the thing
yeah,
that's so
yeah,
famous for?
it is. I remember watching that episode and I'm like, wait, why
I've
do I
seen this 1,000 times.
deja vu? Um it's super interesting. Tense at times, but like there's some humor. I don't know. It's a good show. That was fun. But what we've been watching now is Taskmaster. Have you ever seen or heard of Taskmaster?
No, looking that up too.
It's a British
Oh,
game.
Taskmaster Pro. No, that's a app, I think.
No,
No.
yeah, not that. It's a
Taskmaster
British
show?
game show, kind of, and they have these like these comedians come on and competing in different challenges, and so like before the live part of the show, live in quotes, I'm watching it all pre-recorded, or like years old.
Yep.
They bring these comedians to film tasks at different locations or different things, and there's like sometimes it's like, hey, you need to make like the best domino track or something of like things with dominoes. And so sometimes people take the task literally, sometimes people find other things. Or it's like, hey, there's this like stream here in the middle. There's a shopping cart on one side and a bunch of groceries on this side. And it's like they find this envelope, open it up, and it's like, hey, you need to get everything in this shopping cart in the fastest time possible. Your time starts now. So like as soon as they read it, that's when their timer starts. And so some people are like, oh, okay. So they grab all the stuff and like chuck it over the stream, like a 10-foot wide thing. And then they
Hmm.
go across and then dump them in. Some people like read the rules and like find a way to interpret it differently to like give themselves an advantage. And so like that task, maybe there's not like anything different, but he like kind of knew how other tasks have gone. So like he tried to prep things before even opening the envelope. And then it didn't really help him that much, but he like went across, grabbed the whole shopping cart, chucked that across back
That's
to
what
the
I was
items.
just thinking. Like, I wonder if you would save time by getting the cart
Yeah.
to the
It
items.
didn't
Yeah.
have wheels. The wheels were broken too. So they would get to the cart and then like wheels are all broken off and they're like, oh no. So it's just interesting. It's a lot of like problem solving, and it's just seeing how people like handle these situations or how they solve a problem in unique ways or
Mhm.
really dumb ways sometimes.
Yeah,
And
sure.
so anyway, there's a
Obviously.
series of tasks, and then like the show takes place on stage, like they're all there like live, and so they record showing the results of the tasks because they're not all together when they do the tasks. So this is the first time they're seeing how everyone else did, and then they get points from all these tasks that happened. Anyway, it's funny. It's entertaining. There's like 20 seasons of it. In
Gee, been
we're
going
in
on a while.
it's on you. It's all on YouTube on Taskmaster's like on their page.
Okay. Cool.
Also, sorry if you're hearing like, are you hearing the screaming in the background?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool. That's great.
The first time I was like, I thought I was hearing a cat.
Nope, that's Henry.
But
That's my son having a meltdown about something.
It's not that. It's not very distracting.
Okay.
So you're good.
Anyway, all right. That's what we've been watching.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me, because of this show with John Hamm, I have seen almost all of Mad Men. But we recently saw him in Landman. He was a
Oh yeah.
character in Landman.
Is that show good?
Yes, I would say it's good. It's kind of a weird show. You think it's gonna be one way when the show begins, but
Hmm.
it turns into this kind of endlessly meandering plot. But where
Okay.
most shows that would piss me off, in this one, it's fine enough because the characters are interesting. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a great show, but it is interesting. But you will experience tonal whiplash
Hmm.
throughout the show because it'll go from a very serious scene dealing with like very serious things to a very bizarre like scene where people are trying to like take a bunch of old people to a strip club to get them
What?
just happy, and it's just becomes goofy.
Weird.
And then it'll be a serious scene again, and then like it's very weird,
Hmm.
but it's not bad. It's I don't know how to even describe the show.
Yeah.
But I mean it is interesting because it's dealing with like these giant oil corporations and like the drama that goes on there, and like dealing with the government, and you're also dealing with the cartel
Hmm.
uh in the area, and maybe you have to like do some shady business deals and stuff like that. I don't know, whatever. It's fine. It's a fine show.
Okay. But John Hamm's in that one.
John Hamm's in it. He's mainly it's Billy Bob Thornton though, who's
Okay.
the like main character.
Cool. I'll have to check
So
that out.
yeah, it's all right.
Anyway, so the entertainment industry is one place that is very saturated, you might say. Now, this is all, just a really long lead
Yeah.
into our topic, obviously. The there's a million shows and streaming platforms and movies and everything there. And some of these shows that we just talked about, how do you think how do you think they made their mark in a saturated market? I mean, like, why are these the shows we're talking about? What makes them different? Like, why did you watch that show?
Some of it's going to be word of mouth. Some of it's going to be names attached to it. Some of it's going to be marketing. So like The Bear stood out to me. I specifically remember The Bear stood out to me because of the way it was shot. I saw like a brief little teaser clip or something like that, and I was like, this show looks gritty. Like dirty, gritty, like guerrilla style filmmaking, close ups, everything's like high contrast,
Yeah.
and they're in a grimy kitchen, and everyone's yelling at each other, and I was like, that seems cool. That seems interesting,
Unique, different,
yeah, just like a cool premise. It's like, okay, that's a birthing place for a lot of drama and interesting dynamics. So it just kind of got me to pull the trigger and say we should check this out.
Cool. So keep that in mind as we get further into like talking about market saturation, and like it's going to be different talking about in relation to the stuff we're working on a little bit, I guess, not entirely. The same principles, kind of like we said, it applies like cross industry.
Yeah.
But I I just had a conversation with my brother yesterday. And if you are coming from our previous podcast, that's Eric. He was a guest on there a couple times.
Yep.
And he texted me yesterday, which was Wednesday, the 11th of February. Do we need dates in our? I don't know. It's probably not relevant. It doesn't matter.
Why not? I mean, knowing the maybe just knowing the like what season we're in could be interesting.
That's true.
Something like that.
Anyway, so yesterday my brother texted me. He's like, "Hey, I've got this like business idea. I'm not going to tell you the exact idea, so someone, not that anyone wants to go and steal his idea, whatever. But it's like related to the coffee industry, and he had this idea, and he's like, he literally asked me. He didn't know what we were going to be talking about today, in this episode, but he asked me. He's like, like what? Here's this idea I have related to coffee. Like, do you think this is a dumb idea? Is the market too saturated? Like, is it oversaturated? Too many people doing this kind of thing? Blah blah blah. A bunch of other things we talked about, and I'm like,
Mhm.
that's actually super timely because we were planning on talking about market saturation today on the episode, and what I ended up like we had like texted for a while and just like back and forth, really long texts. I'm just kind of spitting all my ideas out. And there are a lot of elements that were like, it feels like every industry is saturated right now. No matter what you're doing, like it feels like so many people are trying to do that. And like you don't know that until you start looking into that industry. Like before, when I was working, like trying to get a board game out for a while, before doing that, I'm like, oh, board games are sweet. These are awesome. These are so cool. I want to make a board game. And I started like designing a board game. And then the more I looked into it, the more I researched it, I'm like, good Lord, everyone is making a board game. Like, and then I
Yeah.
started getting every single ad I got was for some new board game launching.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that there's some of it is like, what's that called? Like some kind of bias, whatever. Like it's like when you're looking to buy a new car, you're like, oh, I'm thinking about this Honda CRV. All of a sudden you start seeing Honda CRVs everywhere on the road. Like whatever car you're looking for, you start noticing those things being present more.
Yep.
So it feels like there's just a lot of everything. That was a little weird tangent. Anyway, so talking about like
It makes sense.
this coffee business and things he's looking into, it's like, yeah, the thing you need to do is find a way to stand out. Like the market is saturated. There's a million people making like roasting coffee, selling coffee, all with their different brands. Like, how can you stand out? And so like that's the question about market saturation, which if you're not familiar, market saturation just means like there's a lot of that product out there, a lot of people doing the same thing or doing something in that medium. Like we were saying, there's a million shows out there. There's so many books. When I started writing a children's book and illustrating and working on that, I'm like, everyone's trying to make a children's book, which isn't true, obviously, but you start seeing people doing that. So
Yep.
there's a lot of things of like
it's almost like you corner yourself into, but it's because of the internet. I mean, it's like you online there are silos of groups of people who are interested in topics, and algorithms feed into that too. So if you start down a path of like from a creative's perspective, oh, I want to start doing this thing, they'll start feeding you tutorials, they'll start feeding you products that are similar to what you're looking into creating,
courses to make your product,
everything. It will feel like the entire world wants to do the exact same thing that you do. But really what it is just some random corner of the internet. Not saying that saturation isn't a thing, because it is.
Yeah.
But that's why it feels so immediately like, oh my gosh, there's like 5,000 people. Whereas before, when you had a big business idea, your competition was going to be the people in your town,
or the people who had the money to make it happen. Like,
yeah,
that's the other side of it. Is it's so easy to make stuff these days. Like, there are so
easy
many
to make stuff. Yeah,
I didn't say good stuff. I just said
hard to make quality stuff. Yeah.
So like, there's so many free tools. There's so many AI tools now. Like, you want some illustration, like before, you'd have to hire someone or try to figure it out on your own. Now, like for some people's purposes, they could just go and be like, hey, AI, make this, change this family photo to be like Disney characters or Pixar characters. And like, it's good enough for that kind of purpose, but they're just like, oh, I just want like a funny thing to have for my family. But anyone can go in with a prompt, make stuff, or on Canva, make a logo. Again, not saying it's always good. But like it's the access to make things is so much more prevalent. And then with the presence of social media and the growth of the internet over the last decades, we see more of it too. So like, there's more content being made, and we're aware of more of it than we ever were before.
Yeah, the bar for entry virtually doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, there's like no gatekeeping. It's
which
just
is a bad thing.
Yeah.
It very, very increasingly as I live, I know. I realize you need to keep people out of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, you think of, I mean, again, bringing it into like the video game side of things that like we're familiar with. Steam is like a game library on PC,
Yep.
and it used to be when it started, it was super selective of what games it would publish.
Like curated.
It was curated, yeah. And then they started bringing more things in, and you could have like curators you could follow of games they like. And then they started the Steam Greenlight program, where they were like, hey, if you get enough people to like wishlist like this idea, then like you could get it published. So now you pay $100 and you can get a game on the library instantly.
Quality control out the
Yeah.
window.
Or same thing with like Nintendo. Nintendo used to be known for
I
quality
know.
games, and then there's the Switch opened up to indie publishers, and now there's like a million rehashed games, like just trying to copy the trends and like make clones of things to just like make money. So then there's like a billion indie games on there. So
Yep.
some of that gatekeeping like provided more quality stuff in the past, where now it's like we have to. Where like before you could be like, oh, a game on the Nintendo 64, GameCube, like chances are it'll be good, decent, and like it's not going to be just like complete trash because it had to go through some kind of like like a system, some kind of measures to make sure it like had like good quality and worked and everything there. Whereas now like that, like you said, there's no gatekeeping. The bar is super low. The barrier to entry is super low. Um,
The
anyway,
the example I always think of is like photography. You know,
mm,
photography used to be almost a viable art form.
yeah,
Honestly, now I don't know that it is. I think because it used to be if you wanted to be like a photographer, you would need this insane equipment that's big and bulky. You need cases for it, you need a bunch of lenses, you need
yeah,
crazy stuff to be able to seriously photograph something and it look good. And you have to have an understanding of lighting. You have to set up now you have literally everyone has a pretty dang good, camera just in their
yeah,
phone,
for sure.
and the software that they've put into it is already basically doing a bunch of like corrections and making
Yeah,
making it look relatively good with zero. You still need to have an eye for it. Obviously, nothing quality is going to come from someone just running around and snapping photos
yeah,
haphazardly.
for sure.
But because it's so easy to get into, and because everybody, all it takes is one random person, or all it takes is hundreds of thousands of people with a random whim to be
Yeah,
like, I'm a photographer, and like I'm saying, doing basically emulating real artists to cheapen the entire thing for everyone, because most people aren't going to care, aren't going to really notice the difference between like um a good enough photographer who's willing to just like do the work for money, for
yeah,
like cheap money, versus are they really going to go and pay someone like thousands of dollars more
right.
um for not an imperceptible difference in quality,
Yeah.
but are they going to consider it worth it? I don't know.
It feels like it lends itself to extremes. So you're either like you have like really good equipment and you have a lot of experience and good background, and so you'll get more prestigious, higher paying jobs that still want that like higher quality stuff. Or you're super entry level and you can go in and do something super cheap and like Fiverr, that's like
Oh
kind of the
yeah,
concept of Fiverr
there
almost
you go.
is like you're just trying to have the lowest bid and just get the job
Yep.
and like, make it work with whatever you have. But everyone in the middle who's like trying to make their living and have like, oh, I'm going to charge like this middle rate for like, I've got good equipment. It's not not just an iPhone. And like, it feels like all that middle ground like gets lost because it's people like, well, I can do it cheaper and it's still pretty good from like what I care about.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it feels like either you're doing stuff pretty cheap or like you have to be almost pretty prestigious to stand out.
pretty much.
Or you have to do something different. Like you have to have like a certain like visual style,
Yeah, crazy style. Yeah.
location, certain things that like that's like it's finding a way to stand out. Which like that's like the next thing we want to talk about was all these markets are so saturated. How do you stand out in a saturated market? Whether you're a photographer, whether you're trying to start up some like a coffee company, creating a children's book, illustrating like graphic novels, like whatever content that we make, like you have to find a way to stand out in the market to be successful. Um, like what are some things you can think of? Like I don't know if this is advice or just it's really just us throwing stuff against the wall and like talking about it. But like
It's
what are
just
your thoughts?
yeah, exactly. It's just our thoughts because we don't really know
We haven't sold
necessarily.
anything yet.
Right. The way I always look at it is just by kind of accepting the inevitable, which is that, probably every market that there is has been saturated for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Like what's left? Unless you're an actual inventor or like a software
Hmm.
developer who is onto something or whatever.
Some form
Um,
of science coming up with some new cure.
yeah,
I don't know.
then probably you're not going to blow everyone's minds with whatever it is you're making.
Right.
So for me, what it is I think accept that about the world because it's where we're at, and then do it anyways because you're making something that you love, right? That would be the idea. You push past it because you're actually passionate to
Yeah.
make something, and you'll fall into two camps after that if you decide to move forward. One is you actually do make something that's successful that people really like, that they buy, that you can,
They can see you cared about and put effort into.
yep, and great. There you go. Then you've basically achieved the dream. That was your whole point. But even if that doesn't happen, if you're making something that you're passionate about, then you come out the other end with something that you made
Hmm.
that is yours, that you care about and like. And I think there's something to be proud of there if you even just do that, because that's like less than
Yeah.
1% of people who are going to end up doing that.
If you can
So
finish a project, you're already ahead of a lot of people there.
yeah, I agree that. So I think that's sort of my way of looking at it. But that being said, you've watched me for any amount of time, you know how much I like to complain, and you know that my critiques of things, I'm always like like even a show that I like The Bear, I have complaints about, right? Or
Sure.
or anything like a video game or something like that. So when it comes to the kind of stuff we're working on, it's I've noticed that sometimes or oftentimes stories do stuff that I don't really like to see. I feel like the focus goes to somewhere that I'm that
Hmm.
is not interesting. They put some kind of message in it that I think is trash or something like that, right? And so for me, the way to stand out in that case would be, okay, let's put an end to that kind of thing and make something that I would like to see. I'm
Sure.
sure that I'm not the only person on earth who would like to see the kinds of stuff happen in a story like what I would think of. So if I put something out there, then maybe somebody else
Yeah.
would also like that kind of story.
Some of it's finding like that niche audience. Like you talked about, if you find that corner of the internet that feels saturated, like maybe
Yeah.
that's also your corner to get connected to and like and find an audience. Like I think of there's another hobby that I have too many hobbies, but one of one of my hobbies that I like doing, like tinkering with, is making mechanical keyboards. And with my design background too, like there's a couple times that I've wanted to design my own keycaps and like themed like keycaps for my board for different builds or something. And when I tried to look up like how to print like my own custom keycaps, like there's probably more, but there's like three companies I found where I'm like, wow, there's not much of a market on these, and like two of them were like seemed subpar, not the kind of printing I wanted to do. And then I found like this one company that does like fully custom keycaps with like great printing quality and colors and like customizations, and you can upload your files and like move it around on there. And I'm like, oh, this is the site that does this. Like,
Yeah.
it's this one place solving this very niche problem. Like, even most people into keyboards are not also going to design their custom keycaps all the time. Like,
That's true. Yeah.
it's like a niche of a niche. And
Yeah.
but I think like because it's the only company kind of doing it into the same extent, they have an audience there enough to like to be sustainable in some way.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and something that I was very vague before, and most of it's because like I'm trying not to like get into the weeds about it, but really the thing that I was thinking in terms of stories, like what I see a lot of in story writing or writing in general
yeah,
is this idea of subversion, like within a story, within whatever's happening. I don't know why this is a trend because it's the worst thing ever, but they always set, it's like the writers get something out of setting some kind of expectation and then just like completely subverting it and trashing whatever your expectation is, or taking a pre-established property or IP that people enjoy and like, and the writers are like, oh, you want to see this thing happen? How about I destroy
Well, let me
every
change
single
it.
thing about it and change it and make it worse in every single way possible?
Halo
So
4.
yeah, sure. You could name just about anything
There's so many things, but
that's been ongoing
yeah,
for a while or been remade in some way.
yeah,
So like one of my big goals, if I were to like, you know, put some of my ideas into story forms, would be to just get back to grassroots. Is that the expression? Like,
yeah,
get back to basics where I set a clear expectation and I actually meet it.
sure,
I actually have the story pay off in some way. I actually go there with the
yeah,
story, like wherever, depending on the story, will determine what that actually means. But if there's a character uh, who you really want to see get to a certain point, actually meet the expectation, or like
defeat
allow a
some
hero
inner
to be a
demon for
hero,
something, and
or
like,
yeah, or if you're gonna go the sad route, because trust me, I'll do that too.
yeah,
Really go there with that too.
sure,
It really depends on the story, but I think that this constant like ripping the rug out from under your audience is really tiresome,
yeah.
and I my tolerance for that kind of thing has gone out the window. So
It's almost like they're just trying to be like, oh, like how can we, have a plot twist, do something unexpected, like keep people on their toes, but like it's forcing it sometimes. Like I'd say like season 1 of Westworld, that
mhm.
show was awesome. That season 1 had like a big twist that you're just like, it wasn't pulling the rug out from you, but it was like a revelation of just like, oh, oh man, that's insane. Like this main thing.
Yeah.
And then it felt like the following seasons had good, like visual quality was good, but it seemed like it almost didn't know where to go because that one big reveal happened, and so like you don't have that
And that's
same
all they had.
tension.
Yeah.
Kind of like there's other good stuff, and like it just wasn't the same. And then once you know that too, like rewatching it, it's not the same experience. Um,
See, I watched Westworld season 1, but I don't even remember what happened. I don't
well,
remember the
you
show.
you don't know that they're robots for like a while.
Everybody in the town?
Well, some of them are,
Okay.
but then there's like some people behind the scenes that
Oh, okay.
they're robots too,
Oh,
and you're
okay,
like,
gotcha.
they're running the program, but then they find out like they're robots or AI or whatever they call them
I
in that
see. I
stuff
see.
too, and you're just like, wait, that person, oh my, everything's made up.
They're all robots,
Um,
just like in real life.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Going
Anyway,
around
so
you.
that's I guess some ways to stand out is to have a very niche product. That's not going to be everyone. Ralph's idea of like having a clear vision. I think that's a big part of it. Like you have a vision of where your products are not I hate saying products, but like
My content,
where
my
your work is going and like your
focus.
project. Yeah, you're focused. You're focused on what you're trying to accomplish. I think there's also something to be said about like having high quality work, whether that's quality art, quality like finished product, storytelling. It feels solid. The plot, there's not like plot holes. If I would have
Yeah,
just like published this children's book, like the first time I wrote it before sending it off to get edited, it would have been pretty rough. Like my editor was like, "Hey, there's these scene transitions don't, the pacing feels off, or like you say this here, but then at the end, like there's an issue and like the plot doesn't connect." And I'm like, "That's a really good point." And I think there's a lot of content that people put out there like that doesn't go through this kind of vetting process, this editing process to like tighten up. And that's another thing, like scope creep. If like you got to keep things kind of focused and like tight to be like, you might have to cut stuff out that you're like, oh, I really like that, but it's not actually helping your story. It's not helping whatever. Like this weird example. I'm on so many tangents right now, but I saw this reel the other day of like a photographer we were talking about, and he's like the scene, and it shows this huge landscape with this crazy mountain range and stuff, and then he's like little red box showing like the photo I took, and so it's like crazy frozen lake mountain landscape, and like his photo is on these ice this like ice formation on these flowers in front of it with like some stuff in the background. It's like that's a really cool photo. Like crazy scene, but like everyone else will just go up there with their phones and be like, "Oh wow, look at these mountains, done." But like some of this, he's focusing on like on nuance, on like different elements within that big picture, and like those stand out a lot there.
yeah,
And so yeah, like kind of that having that focus thing is really good. Um,
yeah.
and then
True.
like another high quality like we talked about, I think will stand out because there's so much content that people have used cheap tools, free tools, pre-generated assets. Like there's a lot of video games that you can get asset packs and just like, oh, here's 3D models to just throw into a game and they just work. But then there's like a bunch of games that all look the same. So
Yeah,
there's something to be said about going deep rather than like spitting out a bunch of shallow content. You got to venture deep, like our
yeah,
slogan.
yeah. The I think the difference would be heart
Yeah.
because don't get us wrong, it's not about going and buying like crazy expensive equipment so that you can make good
No.
work.
Yeah, that's
You can
true.
actually do really good work with cheap or even free software sometimes.
For
Like
sure. Yeah.
an example that comes to mind would be like the Valve engine, where like a thousand people have made like full on games with the Valve engine, and they've been good and
Yeah.
they did it for
Yeah.
free, and they
Yeah.
released it for free, and it's just like this crazy game. Um, it's because they had heart in what they were doing. They cared and thought it was cool, and they were just passionate, and they poured their soul into it, right? So,
Yeah.
the problem,
I don't want it to sound like I'm like, oh, you can't make good stuff
no,
out of free
no, it's
tools, but
it does matter though, because like the problem becomes like when you are sort of haphazardly
yeah,
doing it, where and you see more of that now because there's like no cost for entry, right?
sure.
Whereas before, no one was going, if you didn't care, you probably weren't going to engage with the art form because it's going to cost money.
Yeah. And
Now it costs almost nothing to pretend that you're some kind of artist, right? So
yeah. So you need to like it's like time is money, timer money. You got to put the time in or you got to put money in like, in some sense now it's like you have to put the time and effort into something to build your skills to get better at something and that if you put the effort in it'll show. like in the
Yeah.
finished product.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
um, okay, so let's try to summarize the things we talked about. So like how to
Okay.
stand out there. Like, I guess so. One thing was like having a very niche audience or solving a specific problem. We talked about like that keyboard company or like the keycaps. So like there's not anyone else doing this or very few people. Another thing is having a focus, like a clear focus, and creating putting heart in it to create like quality work. I'd say another element that we kind of touched on here and there would be like some unique element, whether that's your art style, like your tone of voice, if it's a
Yeah.
story, or like your medium. A lot of people make like studio art, physical art, um, and sometimes it's painting, sometimes it's whatever. But if you find some unique medium and like make it out of some material that no one's used before, like that's interesting too. Um, and going like deep on a project, rather than and just like spitting stuff out. Um, I think that kind of summarizes some of that. So, and like all of this too, it's not. Have you heard of the term like the attention economy?
Yes.
That's like that's what we're in right now. That's
Absolutely we
that
are.
that's part of the issue too. Is you're
Flavor of
not
the week.
yeah, you're not always competing against. So like if I'm making a children's book, I'm not just competing against other people making children's books because you're competing for attention with other people. So if you're making a game, a book, a show, whatever, like you're not just competing against other shows, you're competing against how people spend their time. If they have the attention to be like, "Oh, do I want to spend this next hour watching a show or reading a book, playing a game?"
Yes.
Like you're competing against like every entertainment thing
You're
on there.
competing
So,
against Instagram Reels
yeah, yeah.
while
Oh my
people are
goodness.
high on gummies.
Yeah,
That's what you're competing
TikTok.
against. Good luck.
Like so yeah. Well, on a more positive note, that's why like the importance of standing out in some way, like that's why. It's because you're competing against outside of even your own thing. But I'm not trying to be discouraging, just something to bring up. And with that being said, there's also like you've heard there's like the trap of like, oh, it's been done before. You know,
Yeah.
that there's think of how many zombies themed how much is that like zombies themed entertainment there is. Like movies, there's like comedy,
Oh,
Shaun of the Dead. There's horror, 28 Days
it's been
Later,
around
I Am
since the
Legend.
black and white film
Yeah,
days.
there's board games. There's Dead of Winter, which is really fun, and then there's Zombicide, completely different type of game,
Yep.
still with the same theme. There's so many things, like video games that use zombies. So if you're like, got this idea for like a zombie thing, like, oh, everyone's done that. It's been done before. Like, yeah, but there's also so many things that are successful, and like, there's a reason there's so many. So like, what's a way you can stand out in there? Even this board game that I like called Zombicide, they have like 8 Zombicide games of different genres. There's like a Western one. There's a pirate one coming out. There's like a fantasy, sci-fi. Like there's all these different themes of it. So like I think it's finding a way to tell your story, even if it's like something has been done similarly before. The story you tell is going to be different than stories that have been told. It's going to be like different characters or a different emotion that you're bringing out. Some of that stuff, the other stuff is just like a background. Um,
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Zombies has always acted as a background framing device
yeah,
for interpersonal relationships and drama.
yeah,
Um, that's the whole thing behind that's the whole thing with like The Walking Dead. People would always say like there's not enough zombies. It's all just people like talking to each other. And then the big zombie moments would happen and it's a payoff and
sure,
it's but yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with all that. Um but but that's why I say that's why this venture specifically I think is important just personally
yeah,
because I think it should be important personally because basically if we don't try and just make something put ourselves out there do something make something cool and fun then the alternative is making nothing. Is that
yeah.
really better? even if you make stuff and it fails, it's better than making nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's good to do that. And you know, well, yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking. But also, if you want to make something that stands out, you could try making something that is good and not bad.
Yeah.
That's how you can stand out in today's market.
Just be good,
Cause
and you'll be good.
yeah, because everything that comes out is
I mean,
awful.
I mean, you are, as even though I joked about that, like you're not wrong. Like having quality stuff out there and like clear vision, all the stuff we talked about, like that will stand out. And I think
Should.
showing your like your the effort you put in and the heart behind it, like this Wally the Waffle book that I'm making. It's not called that, but I don't remember if I mentioned the name. Anyway, if I finish this, illustrate it and print it, and sell a dozen copies to my friends and family, and that's
Yeah.
it. Like, I have this book for my kids, and that's like
Exactly. There
that's
you
the
go.
thing that I'm excited about.
There's the legacy right there.
My kids love the world. They love the stories that like I make for them. Obviously, I would love for it to be way more successful, and I'm gonna do everything I can to like to make it big, like do more stories and do more things. But what I'm not gonna do is just spit out like a bunch of story ideas that I don't spend the time to like make as best as I possibly can, because it's a testament to like to my stories, my work, the things that I want to accomplish. I like the last week I spent on the line art of like one page because I couldn't figure out a couple things. So like I've been working on one page of this book, and this last week I kept getting caught. I'm like, this doesn't look right. It does, the perspective's off. It's like things are not looking right. And so I like reworked and changed. So like there's something to be said about like, you know, if you're being a perfectionist or like, you know, reworking things until the cows come home or whatever. That's not good either. But like I'm trying to focus and like not put arbitrary timelines on myself, trying to stay motivated and work on stuff, but not being like, oh, I have 2 months to get all the illustrations done. Like I've never
Yeah.
done this much illustration, and so I want to take the time to make sure it's good
Yeah.
and like feels polished and everything there. So
Yeah, for sure.
anyway, I I think some of that was like should be helpful. I don't know if it's something that you're just like I don't know what to do. Hopefully this is at least a starting point for you to be like, okay, let me just like work on something, focus
Yep.
on one thing, like try to get better at that. Hopefully our ramblings were, you know, interesting, if not
Hopefully.
hopefully beneficial, if not at least interesting to
Yeah.
hear our perspective on stuff. But I think that's all the time we got for this episode here. Do you have any like closing remarks? Anything else? You don't have any opening remarks. Do you have any closing remarks
Oh,
on
come
what we were
on.
talking about? Or do you just like last thoughts
Uh,
that were like you were sitting on?
uh, I don't think so, except to just mirror in second what you said. The biggest takeaway really is if you're struggling to find motivation um or you're dreading the idea of a saturated market and everything, oh no, is it even worth me doing something? The biggest takeaway is the answer to that question will always be yes. It's worth it because, again, the alternative is not doing it, and I don't think you'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, it should be motivating because look, we're just pulling the trigger, and who
Yeah.
knows what's going to happen. And I think that's better. I'm excited, and really, I'm just trying to do. I want to do this because I want to do it.
We have these things we want to put out there, and like if we're at the end of our lives looking back, I think I would regret if I didn't publish at least one of these books, if not a whole series.
Yep,
Like I'd be like, man,
definitely.
I wish I'd pushed through on that project, finished that book, got it out there. Like I'm not gonna regret like, oh, I didn't make millions off of that. But like I would regret if I didn't make it in general.
Yeah, no one's thinking about money on their deathbed.
No,
No way.
no.
Uh,
Hopefully not, unless you're Scrooge, but I guess he came around too. So
Yeah, he had an arc.
that's true. He had a focused story. Anyway, that is all the time we have for this episode. Thanks for hanging with us. Yeah, this podcast again every 2 weeks, talking about creative things, trying to make projects, how to overcome obstacles while making projects, stuff like that. If you want to chat with us, ask us questions on Discord or other socials. Probably Discord's the easiest way. There's links to all our
sign
socials.
in and actually look at our Discord sometimes.
I see it pretty regularly, so if anyone's there, I'll see that. But it's not built out. There's like one text channel that just is general right now. So that's Discord needs some
nice
work. But
and simple.
That's right. Yeah. The website's live, so you can find a couple things on there, and links to socials, all that. This podcast is a video podcast on YouTube as well. So yeah. Seebeasts.com. SEE beasts.com. Thanks again for being here. See y'all guys. See y'all of the peoples.
Nice.
I quit. I give up on words. See you all next time.
See you guys.
Bye.